Yeah, I guess we shouldn't talk much, right? Because we're
Right,
going to be talking.
Right.
I always forget that. I always have the conversation before having the conversation.
Oh, we do too.
And
Yeah.
now that we're doing a video podcast, this is our inaugural video podcast. Oh yeah.
Oh God.
Oh yeah. That's
okay.
Don't worry.
Street. God damn it.
I should have shaved.
I should have done my hair, but I ran out of time. So I was like,
no, it looks good.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
She looks amazing. I should have showered, but you know what? That's the one thing that still doesn't matter.
Welcome to Make That Paper, the show where we talk about all the crazy jobs we do to make the cash we need to pursue our artistic dreams.
And for boxed water, because saving the planet ain't cheap.
Today, we are talking about the video duplication day job and also the assistant situation. And then we'll get into some Rock Band Chauffeur Shenanigans. We are your hosts, Jaime Parker Stickle
and Jason Bieber. And
on this episode, we are talking to one of the most talented, funniest, and prolific writer, actor, producers in Hollywood.
And that's and that's Hollywood with the big H. He's had series on Hulu.
Quickdraw, loved it.
TBS.
10 items or less, loved it.
And Crackle.
Jailbait. It made me uncomfortable.
He's done 8 million guest stars on all the best shows. He's done movies galore, but he will forever be known for his iconic breakout role as the caveman in the Geico ads.
And we are so excited he is here. Please welcome to the show, the magnificent John Lehr.
Thank you, you guys. God, that is a really lovely intro. I'm going to record that and play it as an affirmation every morning to make myself feel good.
We do answering machine messages as well.
We do.
Are those still around?
Well, we have to sell you the answering machine.
Right. And then I have to get a landline to plug it in.
That's where our money comes in. When we say Jason Bieber's side hustle is IT work, we're just talking about landlines.
Yeah, I'll put together a voice over IP situation for you, but plug it in. Yeah. But on the back end, it's just tape.
I've been dying to say this because I want it to say it authentically and people to believe me. Quickdraw might be one of Hulu's best original series ever.
Oh,
and
God.
I cried for like a year when I found out it wasn't returning. And Bieber was like, dude, you should call and see if you, or like start one of those petitions on Twitter. And I was like, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
But still remains to be one of their best original series.
I hear they don't say, they don't like to share the numbers, but I have inside people at Hulu who still email me and say it's one of their most viewed shows. So
it is phenomenal. The cast, the storylines, the improv, like everything about it is like exactly why I wanted to be an actor and a writer.
And
like,
I would have loved it. It was built for actor. All the actors on it loved it because they were all comedy people, and we built the whole thing to make them comfortable. What a shock to make your actors comfortable, as opposed to every other show I've ever worked on where it seems like it's a torture chamber to see if you can still act if we do this to you or whatever. And but then just to see comedy people like Bob Clendenin ride by on a horse like, with a gun was just awesome.
I don't know why you guys didn't do another season. I can't. I mean, it's a show that I feel like you could bring back today, like immediately with that cast. Like, I just feel like it was so rich and it was so colorful and it was just so goddamn entertaining.
And a lot funnier than Handmaid's Tale.
Are you sure? Well, it's still on. You can still watch the first 2 seasons, and weirdly, it kind of ends perfectly. So, of course, I would love to do more. I would do more in a second, but I am pleased that at least it ends kind of in a like we burn. I won't say the ending, but it's a nice ending.
It is.
So it is. So it was it was a blast to do.
I'm so glad.
It was exhausting to do, but it was so fun, and I'm really proud of it.
I appreciate you calling it the first 2 seasons.
That's it. That is a sorry. That is a creator showrunner talking. Yeah. Cool. Well, we can do more. We can.
Yes.
I have ideas.
I foresee it happening.
I took the liberty of writing 17 more scripts. Here they are.
I'm just saying, Yellowstone,
Yes.
1883. The Western is here, man. It's back.
Yeah.
I know.
So
It was
let's do
it
this.
was an interesting show because it's a Western, obviously, but it's a comedy Western. So, and it's pretty, and the comedy's, all improvised. So it's pretty subversive comedy and ridiculous comedy like improv can generate. And so and it's still got a cult following. I still get emails all the time from people saying they just discovered it because, during the when we were all locked down, everybody was, streaming it. So there were people who were discovering it for the first time. And it's interesting because I would get people like from, really conservative red states who like the Western side of it. And then you'd get like young, libs, who love the subversive part. And it kind of, in its own weird way,
brought America together.
Yeah.
It's amazing. That's
Because we were
amazing.
the Western side of it, we were really, we were really sticklers about there's as crazy as it is, there's a lot of fact-based stuff to the show because we thought that would be interesting. So
Yeah.
people who were fans and like all the guns and all of that kind of stuff was all, true to so Western people really, really got into it. So
Nice.
Yeah, it makes sense. That makes total sense. And, I'm whatever. For me, it was like, this was my introduction to you. And then I had to go and do deep dives. And
Oh, no.
And that's how you realized you'd been watching him for years.
right. You were one of the original cavemen. And I
Yeah.
sort of feel like, oh my God, that is amazing.
Oh, thank God for Geico. I'm looking to see if I have because my wife puts up everything in my office. Oh shit, I don't know. Oh, here is me with Talia Shire.
Oh my God.
Can you see that? 'Cause I knew-
Yes.
The therapy
Okay.
one.
Yes. And you can see from that photo, she's looking at me because the crazy thing about the caveman was that all these people were such fans of it.
Yeah.
And like Talia fucking Shire from The Godfather
From Rocky.
asked to be in a Geico caveman thing. And then she fangirled me the entire time. And I'm looking back at her and like going, you're Rocky, you're Adrian. And I'm just some goofball with latex glued to me. But
it was a
people loved
show.
it.
You made Geico commercials a show. Like people tuned
Yeah.
in for that.
yeah, it was insane. I mean, it's just so weird. I mean, I've had brushes with kind of pop celebrity, but that was like crazy. It was like being a Beatle or something at one point, it was just so weird. But the best part was nobody knew it was me. So I'm just sort of observing the whole thing like an anthropologist. They sent me to an Oscar party, which people in LA know. That's like, you can get into the Oscars, but the after parties, man, and this was the Vanity Fair. This was the big one.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Geico sent me to it in a tuxedo, and I show up and A-list stars are pushing each other out of their way to have a picture with me. Jon Voight literally shoved some actor out of the way in order to have a photo with me. It was insane. It was just
That's incredible.
the whole experience was so bizarre. And the money was great. This was back when commercials still were union and stuff and paid.
Right. That's what I was
And-
just going to say.
Oh.
Now that would be, a side hustle. But at
Yeah.
one point, commercials were
Yeah.
the bread and butter.
Yes. And I
Yes.
did 25 national spots that ran over and over. And it was insane. It was just
Yeah.
like my wife and I were naked throwing dollar bills up in the air. Just like,
Just Scrooge
You know,
McDuckin in your living room.
yeah. I was sober, but I was still thinking about going back to cocaine just because I could finally afford it.
helpful. Nothing like a budget to feed a cocaine habit.
Yeah, I
So-
just wanted to buy cocaine for other people.
Sure.
You know, and just be
Spread
like,
the love. Yeah, hey,
Enjoy.
I
I
took my
can't enjoy
turn.
it anymore, but here.
Well, I think that's, I mean, that was your first big gig. And then
Yeah.
before that, that's where you were in all these side hustles and day
Oh, yeah.
survival jobs. So
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like every artist, you know, you had to work. We all had to work jobs, you know, until we had our quote unquote overnight success. You know, we worked
Yeah.
decades of horrible
Right.
jobs.
and sometimes we go back to them even after
Yes.
our overnight success.
Oh, I gave you 3, but I have dozens. I mean, oh my God, I did some weird stuff. I was
So-
hired at one point in Chicago. It was like a you know, just a job. This was when I was in Chicago, and they hired me to empty this was like a temp job, and they for a company called Manpower, which
Sure.
and so I was hired. It was just one day, but I was hired to clean out a mop closet and move it into another room so that they could turn the mop closet into an office.
Only in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, but I moved all the mop stuff into an office, which they were turning into a mop closet. And I was just like, you know, I want to get paid, but why not just use the office? But I some corporate, no, they were like, you don't understand, John, you idiot. Just do what we're telling you to do. Thank you.
This
You're
is
a
why
temp.
you're the
Just
temp.
get it done.
Yeah.
We didn't
Why
get
are
to
you
be in
talking
middle
to me?
management.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But
Now I would just crap all over them, you
Yeah.
fuckers.
that's the thing about temp jobs. One of my temp jobs, they brought in, I was just supposed to push papers around between people, and I was like, well, you could have an actual process, a process that would make this easier and eliminate probably the need for this. And they're like, don't introduce
please.
new stuff. These people are going to retire in
Yeah.
2 years.
Mhm.
Like, don't change the system, Jamie.
Yeah, we're not trying to be efficient. We're trying to
No.
get our pension and get the
Yeah.
hell out of this nightmare that we got ourselves into.
35 years ago.
Yeah, just shut up.
Yeah, it was
So
crazy.
that I can
temp
go be
jobs are crazy.
Put in a coma and retire.
What
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, what was the day job, the survival job you were doing when you got that? And the first Geico commercial was a one, like, you didn't know that was going to be a campaign. That was just a one.
No.
It just, you were just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was me. Except parenthetically, anyone could have done it. Let's see. I think that was right around I was doing the graveyard job of dubbing Dolomite videos, which you guys hinted to in the. So I got a job in Santa Monica at the graveyard shift. So I didn't have a car yet. Oh, wait a minute. This would have been pretty much before the Geico thing. But anyway, I would take the bus at 10 o'clock 10 p.m. down to Santa Monica.
From where?
From WeHo. So,
oh, God.
which was just like the dawn of the dead would get on that bus. I mean, you know, anybody who's taken the bus in LA knows it's like you got to be ready for anything.
And that's in broad daylight.
Yeah, and that's in broad daylight, exactly. And I was in the graveyard shift taking that bus down, and then I would go, and my job was it was a room full of VCRs, and I would load them all up with VHS tapes, and then start a big 1-inch tape player of a Dolomite movie, Rudy Ray Moore, Dolomite. He was also the Human Tornado. Sometimes I dubbed those. These were black exploitation films.
Yep.
Black exploitation films. And I would dub them as, hundreds of them off and then shrink wrap them. So, which I'm sure gave me cancer that just hasn't shown up yet. And then box them up and ship them off. And sometimes Rudy, Mr. Moore, would show up in his town car and they would pay him. My boss would pay him in cash in a paper bag.
Get out
Oh
of
my
here.
God.
I swear to God.
Did they pay you in cash in a paper bag?
I would just be there. I was just there with my headphones on, boxing up Rudy Ray Moore tapes, but he would show up and pick up and he would pull up in the alley It was like a drug deal. I mean, we were all on drugs. I mean, it was a horrible, horrible job. So of course we were all on drugs because.
So now I know how you did get paid.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got paid. No, but see, I was on payroll. I didn't get cash, but Mr. Moore did.
How long did you do that job for?
Oh man. Why? A long while. I would say at least a year and a half, something like that.
And then you booked Geico or shortly thereafter?
I might be getting the timeline wrong because I ended up substituting in South Central High School for years and years too.
Oh, you did? What did you like? Just any class, or like was there something?
Oh
specific,
yeah,
like history.
Oh yeah, specific. They would just throw you to the wolves. I remember sending out a like because they wouldn't even trust the. I mean, these were in hardcore schools. These were in schools that were really, really rough, and they wouldn't even trust the substitute with the what do you call it, the roll sheet, the roll book. So you would just write up on a piece of typing paper roll sheet for that day and put it in the teachers. And so I sent the roll sheet around and it came back, and at the very top somebody wrote "fuck you, white guy."
All right, fuck you, white guy is here. Right. And who's next?
Yeah.
What is the origin of that name?
Did you have to take the CBEST to substitute?
Wow, did you teach?
Well, I do teach, but I did substitute taught in Michigan for a minute and was like in the outside Detroit area, and I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah. I did have to take the CBEST, but I had my teaching certificate in Chicago.
Okay.
So I didn't have to take all of it. I just had to take some to update my certificate.
So you were teaching in Chicago as well?
I was teaching in Chicago as well. Inner city. I taught 5th and 6th grade in Chicago.
Did you have your own class, or were you separate?
Yes, I had my own class for a year. I had 1 year of 5th, 1 year of 6th, and then I substituted the other years.
Because at what point did you go, no, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I have to do more than this?
Well, in Chicago, I never really expected to be paid full time for an actor. I mean, we all did, everybody had jobs during the day, and then at night you did theater. And
right. I don't expect to be paid in LA either. I just
right.
Walk around and go, I'll work for free. Let's do this.
Yeah. I just, I wasn't thinking about the future. I still have that problem. But yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Well, then
so
you better
everybody
not think of retirement if you're.
No, there's no retiring.
There's no retiring.
My retiring is, connecting a hose from my car exhaust into my window. That's my retirement. When there's no money left.
So let me ask you a question. Another buddy of ours, Dave Rosowski, was on the show, and he started in Chicago. Were you guys? He is an incredible improviser, Dave Rosowski.
He's
did you know each other in Chicago or not till you got out?
We didn't know each other in Chicago, but we knew each other once we came out here. And then I saw him improvise, and I was just like, wow, that guy is so smooth. He's just smooth.
It's insane.
Evan Gore.
Right?
He's like Evan Gore. Do you know him? He was a Chicago improviser. Anyway, I always called Evan Gore Ice. I tried to get it to stick, but it never did. But because he was just smooth, man, just unflappable and just amazing. Anyway, Dave was like that too.
Yeah, Dave never is subject to the pacing the rest of us feel compelled to make.
Yeah, he's just and he's such a joy to be on stage with because I can run around and be a dipshit as much as I want, and he'll just make it all work out. And scene, we're done. Great applause, and it's over.
Work out, and look how brilliant everyone is.
Yeah, good work.
It's a superpower. It's definitely like there aren't many people who can do what he does.
I heard a rumor about him, a prurient rumor.
I did make that up. Yes,
that he's very well endowed, Dave Rosowski.
That's what's generating the superpower.
I'm just saying he is. Maybe he's got.
I have people I can ask.
Me too.
Okay,
I could confirm it. I can't. I haven't.
But this is the first time it's actually come to like the forefront of my consciousness, and I don't know that it'll ever fully leave.
Unless you ask.
I'll remind you.
Yes.
Which is, by the way, a rumor you'll never hear about me, which is so odd. You never do.
The truth, the truth doesn't have to be a rumor.
God bless you. God bless you.
So at some point in Chicago, you were teaching and then you decided to shift to subbing. What made you shift to substituting from actually having a gig as a teacher?
Well, I was on drugs at the time.
Okay.
So I should say that at the top. And I was just I just couldn't handle the responsibility. I did a decent job, those 2 years. And the reason I know that is because students have reached out to me since then, since I, became a Q level celebrity. People have reached out to me, and which is so cool.
But I don't remember you at all. I was on drugs.
No, I was sober while teaching, but here's the thing. I was doing improv. I would get up at 6 a.m., go and teach till 3 p.m., come home, sleep until about 8, get up, do an improv show, and then party till 4 in the morning, and then take a shower and go to school.
But you were 20 something. I mean, I was
20 something, but I was a wreck. I was a wreck.
Let me just say, I understand that sobriety is an important part of your life. But from what you just explained, drug addiction was not avoidable. It was the only way one could possibly do that.
That's what people don't understand. Well, I was anything. I was whatever I could get my hands on. I mean, I huffed oven cleaner. I did heroin.
No, you didn't. Did you really?
Yes, my brother and I huffed oven cleaner once.
But did you clean the oven at the same time?
No.
Okay.
How did you do heroin?
Oh, I snorted it. I never shot it.
Oh, okay. Because otherwise we wouldn't be here having this conversation.
I'm not stupid.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, that was like my main thing. I was like, how did you do all this stuff successfully? Heroin is one of those ones. Like, I've known people who have had heroin addictions who would shoot.
Here's the problem with heroin.
It's not good.
It is the best a human being can possibly feel.
Yeah.
So the people think, people throw their lives away because they're addicted to heroin. No, they throw their lives away because it's worth it. And that's the real problem. It makes you feel that good. So yeah, I'm very thankful. I'm 26 years sober. I'm glad I've had 2 lives to live, and that I made it, but I really shouldn't have, but I did.
But you did.
From
Look how much.
Chicago?
Yeah, no, I grew up in Kansas and then got into Northwestern and went to college there, and then discovered this weird thing called improv that just changed my whole life. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe you could go on stage and say whatever you wanted. It was just the most amazing thing in the world.
And then they let you make TV shows where you get to go and say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, I know.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch Jailbait. It's
That's
amazing.
How did you find Jailbait? Did you find it on my website?
Let me tell you something. There isn't anything I can't find.
Really?
I am
Send
like
me the links because
sleuth.
people all want to see it. It was on Crackle, and it's our R-rated version. Basically, Jailbait is about a character that I play that is in jail, and he shouldn't be, and he's very oblivious and sweet and oblivious. But there was a show called Oz on HBO, which was fucking intense. It was all about rape and prison. I mean, it was just and we were like, let's do a comedy version of Oz. This is before Orange is the New Black. So he pitched it to Sony, and they had this thing called Crackle that they were, that they owned. And they were like, yeah, we need some material. We'll let you do a limited series for that. And we were like, great. And then we did it and we gave it to them, and they were like, they aired it, but all of the advertisers were like, we can't put our name on that. It's just, I pray for the sweet sleep of death.
Well, you don't have to pray. Just get that tube and put it in the.
I can't. I got to wait till the kids. I had kids. Now suicide's off the table.
So they're out of the house. Just don't let them be the ones that find you. That's
you can't do it. You got to wait and die of natural causes. If there's a car, I always tell people, like, I'm one car accident away from freedom. If my whole family died in a car accident, and then I could finally do whatever I wanted to do.
Just make sure you hit the brakes a little bit so you leave a little skid mark, just to show you tried.
No, I mean, if all of them die.
All
of them die.
That's your
because then I
seat.
could do whatever I want. Oh, did you hear John's doing heroin again? Yeah, but his family all died.
His family died.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, he earned it. Yeah.
And guys, he's doing the best work of his life.
I mean, did you hear what happened? I feel so bad for him.
Yeah.
We should bring him a lasagna.
No, the lasagna laced with heroin.
I've never eaten heroin. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
No, you can, as long as it gets in the bloodstream, it doesn't matter.
But you don't want to bake it.
I don't think so.
No.
I wouldn't. Well, I sprinkled Coke in my eye once.
Just for shits and giggles? Or
I was with a friend who said, hey, you should put it. I put it in my eye, and he did it. And so I, of course, did it.
And it burned?
No, it just made my eye numb, and I couldn't see out of it for a little while. And it was, it was just stupid. It was just, we were, obviously wasted.
And obviously had enough cocaine at the time.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Well, he did. It wasn't mine. I would have put mine right up the anus where it belongs.
What were
Main
the kids?
line.
Listen, like 10 years ago. Oh, I think it was. Yeah. Kids were pouring hard liquor in their tear ducts or something, or up their booties or something.
It'll do it. You just got to get it in the blood. That's,
to get drunk faster.
Yeah, but who needs to get drunk fat? What's the rut? Where are you going? Like, what do you got to do?
All right. I will tell you, generally, I agree with you. But when they started infusing beer with coffee, it made sense.
That's a poor man's speedball.
Yeah.
That is, the human body loves to go up and down at the same time. And that's exactly what coffee and beer will do.
That is, and you know what? It tastes pretty good. It tastes pretty good.
I remember I was on a date with my wife, and this was after I got sober, and she was drinking. This was, we were new early on, and she was drinking wine, and she like had a half a glass of wine, and we were going to head out to see a movie. And I said, hey, finish your wine. Let's go. And she was like, oh no, I'm done. I'm like, done. She goes, yeah, I'm not thirsty. And I'm like, thirsty? What does that have to do with it?
Yeah, I'm not standing on the side of the marathon holding a Dixie cup.
Yeah, thirsty. I was the guy who at last call, I'd go around drinking other people's drinks, with like cigarette butts still in them and stuff,
Yeah, but ew, never. Yeah. I've cleaned up after a few parties and not too much hit the sink.
Yeah. Well, you've cleaned up after our dates also. Like when we were first dating, you were like, aww. You finished off every drink I ordered and never touched.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Now I just eat my kids' half-eaten peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, that's part of being a dad.
Yeah.
You eat all the food nobody else eats.
But I realize it has nothing to do with like, getting drunk or high or anything like that. It's just that I can't leave anything on the table.
Right. Well, that was the way I was raised too. And now, it's horrible. I haven't eaten a real meal in 20 years. I fit 16 years.
Somehow I think you and I maybe were both like time teleported from the Depression. It's just the way we were raised.
I'm reusing floss from the 1970s.
Floss? That's too fancy. I've got some old electrical wire. Lasts a lot longer. Rinse it off.
You literally told me the other day, Jamie, you just have to clean your floss. You don't need to get new floss every time.
He's right. It's so wasteful.
It'll break when it's done.
Yeah, it'll break when it's done. Like your underwear. Just like your underwear. When it falls off me, then it's time to buy a new pair.
If my underwear can't hold whatever falls out of me, then it's not. Then I'm not.
Look, the underwear is there to protect your anus, your scrotum, and your penis. As long as two of those are still protected.
This is advice directed to you, Jamie.
It still stays on the shelf.
Listen, this is a good segue because
It is.
before you were buying new underwear with Geico money.
Oh
Now you're rich from Geico.
Well, but I had
what-
kids, so
right,
it all went
exactly.
away.
It
Little
evens
cave kids.
out. You were buying underwear with the money you got from driving a Brazilian rock band to the MTV Awards.
Now, this was an early job too. So
a one-off, right?
You like
Yes.
my segue, right? See how
yeah, I
brought
did. That was
I mean,
amazing.
it was beautiful.
Amazing.
It felt so natural.
You guys should submit this one for a Webby.
Yep.
It's this one, that right there.
Best ham-handed segue.
My face hurts.
Okay. So I'm living in LA. I'm sleeping on people's couches. I need money. And a friend says, she works for MTV and they need, people to work for the MTV Music Awards. This is when Music Awards still, meant something and was cool and everything. And I said, yeah. She said, will you do it? I said, fuck yeah, I'll do it. And then she says, okay, here's your job. For a week, you're going to drive a passenger van around anywhere this band wants to go. Remember how in the MTV Awards, they would say, the MTV Award for Best Rock Band in Brazil. And they would just show a little, cut of the band going, yay, with their spaceman. So this was the best rock band. They won the spaceman or not the spaceman, but the music award. Yeah, was it? Yeah, it was
the spaceman. That's
the astronaut.
Right. And they won it. And so part of winning it is they got to come to the awards in LA. And so my job was to drive them around, and I drove them anywhere they wanted to go. And I was still drinking and using at this point, but I stayed completely sober because I did not want to kill a bunch of people in a band, rock band driving around. So I was really good. I did my job. We got along great. And for the actual award ceremony, they said, we want John to come to the award ceremony as our guest.
What?
And my boss was like, no, that's not allowed. And they demanded it. And I got to go as their guest. And so I showed up at their hotel. Now, this is a Brazilian band. And so I walk in and they have a rock of pink Coke. I didn't even know cocaine was pink until then.
Oh my God.
And the lead singer shaves off, because turns out cocaine is pink when it's real. I was, snorting stuff that was stepped on with, flour. And
it's got pebbles
whatever.
in it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so we just got wasted out of our minds and went to the award. It was fun. And I rode in the limo with them and it was amazing. And I was with them and we're just, we drinking. It was just out of control. And my boss comes up and she says, John, I need you for a minute. And I'm like, what? And she goes, look, this is when videotape was still a thing. She hands me a videotape and she says, stand here. Just stand here and hold this tape. Somebody's going to come get it. That's all I had to do. And I was like, all right, this is backstage.
This is like your Dolomite days. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just stand there. I can do that. So I'm holding this 3/4 inch, VHS or, videotape. And all of a sudden out around the corner, things start getting electric. You can tell something's happening. And all of a sudden, Aerosmith, the full band, comes around the corner right by me. And I couldn't believe it. I was new to LA. This was my first and I knelt down to one knee. And I didn't know what else to do. I just knelt down to one knee and Steven Tyler rests his shoulder on me, his hand on my shoulder and was like, rise. He didn't say it, but it was like, you may stand. And so I did. And they walked by and it was just, I will never, ever forget. Cause I was, I'm a huge, obviously Aerosmith fan. And it was just, God, it was amazing.
And you were flying on pink cocaine.
Yeah. And I was out of my mind and it was just fucking incredible. It was just like LA. I love LA.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
There's no going back from that.
No. It's been downhill ever since that moment. That was like when I peaked early.
I was going to say I know that sobriety is an important part of your life, but it doesn't sound like it's the best part of your life.
Oh God, no. That was oh my God, that night. And then I saw Kurt Cobain walking around with the baby.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
This was like, you remember when he and Courtney brought the baby to the MTV Awards? That I was there.
Back when this was important.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the one where Michael Jackson and like brought Lisa Marie Presley out on stage and kissed her in front of the audience to prove it was real.
That he wasn't, that he was, that he was at least bi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was when he was living in the tank and stuff, right? With the monkey and everything. God, that's good.
Lisa Marie was not allowed in the tank.
Yeah, no. We know who was allowed in the tank. Mm-hmm. We've seen the documentary.
We're not sure if they got out of the tank.
Yeah. God, Jesus.
So all right. So basically you narrowly avoided doing a La Bamba with the Brazilian rock band.
Oh my God. They were so amazing.
Are they still around?
I don't know. I never saw them again.
Do you even know what the band's name is?
No, because it was in Brazil. It was in Portuguese. I don't know what the fuck their name was, but I loved those guys. They didn't speak very much English. John. Yeah, we just, but I took them everywhere. I took them to the Virgin record store, and they each bought like $1,000 worth of CDs because they couldn't get, it was amazing. It was
that's
so
really
fun.
Cool. Yeah, that's a cool gig.
Yeah.
That's that's a one-off, but it was a week of work.
Yeah.
It was a week of work. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's a.
Are you guys looking for one-day jobs? Is that okay, good.
What we're looking for is
all of it.
Really, what we're looking for is a good reason to chat with a nice fella.
God bless. Well, I didn't know what make the paper meant at first. Make that paper. Wait, does it make that?
Make that paper.
That's how stupid I am. I was like, is it right about college papers I've written? That was where my mind went first.
This is a paper making podcast about the process of making paper.
Making paper.
When did you,
pulp.
Where do you get the pulp from? Do you cut your own trees? Do you have in your back? Show me your backyard. I do it
Egyptian style. I'm using reeds, papyrus. I'm doing papyrus.
Yeah. Paper. Well, believe it or not, there's like an entire TikTok on making paper where people make paper at home.
Not surprised at all. There's a TikTok about, making poo into sculpture. Well, the problem is too much information.
I was trying to promote Make That Paper on the TikTok.
Oh boy.
And I got all these paper people following me and making comments, and I was like, "Oh no, we're not a podcast about making paper."
Well, there's a Quickdraw community who draw things really quickly, and we had lots of crossover with that with our show Quickdraw.
Weird ways to penetrate alternate markets.
It's crazy. We tried to use multiple other names first, like Side Hustle, and
I like Make That Paper.
But Make That Paper is the only one that wasn't taken.
I like it. It's good. It's good. No, it just, I'm stupid. The name is good. I am bad.
All right. We were going to quote you on that.
Yeah, but use that as the promo. We've got John Lehr, Geico Caveman. The name is good. I'm stupid.
Well, let me ask you this really quick. After you did Geico, or when you did Geico, you didn't know that you were going to get a 25 commercial campaign, which is out of this world. So were you gigging in between? You didn't quit anything? So you maintained working.
Oh yeah. I was doing the Geico thing spanned over. I mean, it's still going on. I recently did a gig as the Geico Caveman for a show on Fox called, oh boy, I keep wanting to say name that tune, but it's not. It's where they try to figure out if you're singing or not.
Oh, yeah.
I can see your voice. I can see your voice.
Yes. You did that? I haven't watched the show.
It gets huge ratings apparently, but I had never seen it. I was like, wait, what am I doing? I'm singing? No, you're not. Or maybe you are. Maybe you're not. We're gonna try to guess.
Did you sing?
You can't
say.
Don't know. I don't know if I'm so. They're so uptight.
Yeah,
That
don't say
group
anything. We'll
was-
all just go watch
They were
it.
just like, there are all these rules and they're handlers, and I couldn't have my phone with me. I'm like, listen, I'm just trying to do
Make a
this
buck.
gig and go home. I have to text my daughter. She's at school. No, we can't. Because I guess there are people making money. If it's a game show, there's all these rules and stuff. So anyway, but
I
yeah,
want to
no,
say it makes sense, but sure.
I don't know. I just, tried to do, actually, I didn't do what they told me. I hid the phone and didn't, I broke the rules.
Yeah.
People are parents, and they have to appreciate the fact that like the reason the cell phone was invented was for parents to keep eyes on their kid at all times.
Exactly.
Leave us alone.
I must do that.
The reason cell phones were invented were so businessmen could do curls, build up their biceps, because those things were 75 pounds.
That's
Your dad
right.
had one. Your dad had one, right?
Yeah. I was
Really?
impressed.
Did he have a fax in his glove compartment? Some people had those.
He had no fax.
Wasn't that in The Player or something in the movie The Player?
Yes.
Was there was a fax in his car? Yeah, that was a real
Tim
thing.
Robbins. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People had those.
Yeah. Back when you
I have
couldn't
to
get
send a fax today. That's what I was doing. I have to send a fax. When was the last time you guys sent a fax?
No, I give them to Jason Bieber and I go, can you fax this? And what he does is he scans it with his phone and emails it off. He's like,
but
no,
these guys, it has to be from a fax. I don't get it. What do I do, Jason?
This is for medicine.
Yes. What do I do? Do I go to
you scan it and then you go to faxzero.com and then you pay for a couple of bucks to email a PDF or to upload a PDF and they fax it for you.
God love you. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
And now John's never leaving the house again.
Thank you, faxzero.com. Thank you.
There we go.
This episode will be brought to you by faxzero.com.
And are you got and box water? I love box water.
Well, that's why it's in there.
Yeah, I hashtag it. If you hashtag something on it, they'll plant 2 trees.
Get out of here.
If you take a picture of the water and then hashtag it, they'll plant 2 trees. Or they say.
That's great for making paper.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where paper comes from.
Yeah.
Unless you're making papyrus. That's a callback right there.
Figured it out. Ooh, I feel like I don't know that we can go much further.
No, that's it. That's I called back. I closed the loop. We're done. The snake eats its own tail.
Done.
That's it.
Everything after this is just an extended blackout.
Yeah. If you're listening to this, stop listening now.
I'm gonna normally we have a sign off, but I'm just gonna slowly turn the lights off.
Nobody's going to be listening to this. Anybody who's listening now is a total idiot.
Or still laughing at the callback.
But to answer your question, yes, I was doing lots of other gigs during that time because it was a long period. I was doing 10 items or less. I was executive producing a show and starring in it, and then going to shoot because the money for the commercials was as good as the TV show.
Was it as good or better? Because national commercials
it wasn't as good because it probably was in the long run. I made more money on 10 items because I was doing 3 jobs. I got writing, executive producing, and starring, so that money added together to be a good payday. But I think you're probably right, the Geico, because they kept rebuying it, They kept re-upping it. So you
definitely
just get checks.
Definitely easier money.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Except wearing that makeup after 10 hours or 8 hours, you just wanted to kill people. You just want human beings don't like stuff glued to their face, it turns out.
It's claustrophobic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was good for about 8 hours. And the guys who did it said, John, you're really, because some people can't do it at all. Some people really freak out over that. Like, there's lots of famous examples, like Jim Carrey from when he did The Grinch. Oh. No, The Mask, apparently, I don't know. I didn't hear it. But for The Grinch, he was like, no. And they had to hire like some guy to come in to get him. He wouldn't do it. He like walked. David Chiklis from the Fantastic Four. These are like sort of famous examples. But people freak out. I don't know why. You just start to go, get it off. I just want it off.
Yeah. Especially
the hair was the worst.
especially when you're doing, a movie and it's just day after day, week after week.
Yeah.
10,
being
12
in it so
hours.
much.
Yeah, the guys on, because Nick Kroll, who did the Caveman, the series, the short series, a TV series, he and I had lunch one time, and he was asking me, how do you deal with it? And I'm like, dude, I don't have to do it every day like you.
Yeah.
I just had to do it one, maybe two for something like a Super Bowl commercial or something.
Mhm.
But he had to do it every day.
And how long were you in the chair for that?
3 hours in a chair. That part was fine because I would just, sleep
Chill.
and it was nice. Yeah. But it was like around hour 8 because you couldn't eat. You had teeth in you and stuff. And,
So how did you get, well, this is just, me curiously. So what happened? How were you hustling to get the TBS 10 items or less? Like that is huge to get writing, executive producers, starring in credits. And
very, very strange. I wanted to do that. I wanted to create my own show ever since I first got to LA. I was like, I felt like improv done the right way with a strong narrative could be a show where the comedy is hilarious because it's improv, but it also has a story, and like Reno 911 was around, and I loved Reno 911, don't get me wrong, but it was more about bits. I was more interested in like a story. This is before Curb.
Yeah.
And so I had been trying to do it from the moment I got to LA. I was trying, and I was in an improv show that kind of got me flavor of the month. It was a 2-person show that we ended up signing with ICM, and we got a holding deal. And that gave me enough to sort of pitch. And I was able to sell a show that I wrote, a scripted show, to NBC that didn't go, but I started getting writing jobs. And so I sort of parlayed that into pitching a show where it would be sort of scripted, but sort of improv. And what I meant by that was like, I would have a script, but the actors would never see it.
Got it.
So they would just improvise. I knew it, and I would be in the scene. So I would lay all the pipe for the narrative, but they could just do what they do. The whole idea was to put them in a place where they could do what they do without worrying about the story. Because if you tell improvisers the story, then they'll try to quote unquote help you.
Yeah.
They're nice people. And then they'll start telling a story and you're like, no, don't do that. If we're going to do that, let's write it. You just play and we'll do it. And so I got that. I sold a show to Fox, a pilot presentation, which basically meant a pilot that you rip the actors off that won't air. But then if they decide to air, then the actors get paid nothing, which was a scam that was being run during that time. And I did it. It didn't go, but then I ended up doing a movie called Memron, which made fun of the Enron scandal, which is still pretty funny. It's still out there. I saw it recently. I was like, wow, this
holds up.
I mean, just goofy as fuck, but I like it. And it won the slam. It won Slam Dance.
Awesome.
And that combined with the writing work and the some of the acting stuff I had done and the pilot presentation at Fox gave us the opportunity to pitch. And we pitched 10 items or less. And because our process was so weird, I mean, this is where digital was just coming in, right? This is like, they were like, wait, there's not going to be any film we're like, it's going to be in a box called a drive. It was literally like that kind of shit. So nobody could make it but us, So they liked it, but they didn't know how to do it. So they just we fell into it where we got to run our own show.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I know. It was like, and then once you've run a show, then you can use that, parlay that into other things.
Yeah.
Parlay that into sending off your next email that you did this morning or yesterday for a show.
Yes.
Right before
with
this.
Bob Clendenin. Right before this. You guys are good luck.
We love Bob.
It's going to happen.
Oh, he's a wonderful, wonderful man in real life, and he is a goddamn genius.
Yeah.
And, I mean, when we would edit Quickdraw or 10 items. And Bob was in a scene when we were looking for the blow for the scene. We just go to Bob, Bob's single. What did Bob say? Okay, good. And print. Let's move on.
You can build a house around him.
Yeah. He's just so smart. And and it's been great developing a show with him. I've never developed a show with him before as a creator, and he's just such a smart writer, and he's like a real actor too. He's not like me.
I first met him. Actually, the first time I didn't meet him. I went to someone's house. So you've been doing your two-man show in people's backyards.
The play you've been doing the play.
A play, yeah.
Your play. I'm sorry. It is a two-person play.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And Bob was part of a theater company. They were doing God of Carnage in people's homes. And
wow, that's so great.
I saw it in someone's home and I was like, oh, I know that guy from everything. And then like a couple months later, we just ended up working on the same show together. I'm like, I saw you in Suzette's living room.
That's so cool. I love that. Yeah, doing this play in people's backyards has been fun, weird and fun and cool.
Can you tell us a little about it? I mean, are you still?
Yeah, it's called Speed Bump. And the guy who wrote it is Jay Martell, who was the showrunner for Key and Peele. And he wrote this two-person, he's an amazing writer, Peabody winner, he's amazing. And he wrote this great script and asked me to do it with him. And it's a two-man show about two neighbors, one who wants to build a speed bump on their street and things go horribly wrong. And it's really funny. And he did a reading of it in his backyard because of COVID. And then he was like, okay, now I want to workshop it in a black box theater. And I was like, dude, you should do it in people's backyards because it's about a neighborhood. We're still nervous about COVID. People are still a little weird about going to a theater.
Yeah.
And so he hired a publicist and we did 4 shows and now we're doing 3 more. And then we're going to put it up in a theater. So I've got one this weekend in a house, like a mansion in Laurel Canyon. We've done like mansions, but then we've also done like we did a family house in the Valley. And yeah, it's really cool. It's been fun and cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love it. I love watching your Instagram and when you're talking to the audience and this one woman was like, well, we're sort of neighbors. Our kids go to school together. And I was like, no, that is neighbors. Yeah, I consider everyone at my kid's school a neighbor. Yeah, good for you.
But also there's a clear divide where I'm like, but you're not my real neighbor.
No, that's not. But a kid friend is almost more, we talk about that in the play. A kid friend parent is almost more intimate than a neighbor.
Oh yeah.
Because that's all you got.
Mm-hmm.
You lose all your other friends.
All those people are gone.
They're gone. Yeah.
Your kid has total control of your life for the rest of your life.
Yes. And sometimes I don't I like the parents of the kids that he's not friends with. Sometimes
I know. We talk about that in the play. It's like, why can't you be friends with so-and-so?
Yeah.
His parents are cool.
Yeah.
My son and Jack Black's son were good friends. And Jack and I have known him forever, and I love him. I mean, who doesn't love Jack Black? And I got to hang out with him. And then our boys weren't friendly anymore, and it was like, fuck.
God damn it!
I couldn't believe it.
Did you
tell your kid? It's
like,
I
was like, hey, you should call. Oh no, I'm interested in the.
We're on the outs. We're not really friends anymore.
You are fucking things up for me. Personally and professionally.
I convinced Jack to do a role because of seeing him again. I convinced him to do a role in the thing that I'm doing with Bob Clendenin.
Oh, okay.
So
all right. So now you don't even need your kid anymore. I know. You leverage that relationship.
I've been trying to get Jack to do something. I mean, poor guy. I mean, it must be hard because every goofball friend of his is like, Jack, listen.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been working him for 10 years to do one of my things.
You've got dibs.
Got it. He was like, all right, I'll do it.
I mean, that's persistence. I applaud you.
Well, it's Jack Black. I mean, I knew he would be great. He doesn't really improv. You know, that's weirdly, you would think he does, but he's not really, that's not his game really, or so he says. And I was like, dude, you would be amazing. And then I finally got him to do it. And he was like, this is great. I was like,
I'm
I
so
know,
happy.
I told you.
Told
But
you.
I think there's a misconception about improv too, because a lot of people just associate improv with like Second City or UCB,
Yeah.
and that's the only style of improv there is, which is, you know, really, I don't know, joking
Showing how
stuff.
clever you are.
Showing how clever you are. But then there's
Yeah.
a whole other form of improv that is just being in the moment in a scene and living it realistically. And
Yep.
where did we do improv, Jason? What was the place that teaches that form of improv?
Oh, that was at Michael Lembeck's.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Lembeck's improv.
He's great.
School.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
he's
was
so great.
he directed a bunch of episodes of Jesse when I was on Jesse, which
Yep.
was a Bright Kaufman Crane show that
Yep.
went for a couple of seasons.
Yep.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Mhm.
And that's what I love about your shows is it's real acting, real in the moment, very grounded, as subversive and funny. It's grounded in reality, and responses are, you know, it's not the improv that we're used to having kind of sort of crammed down our throats, or, you know, having that on our resumes. It's different, and it's wonderful, and it's, I don't know, it's relatable and funny, and it's great.
You guys would love doing it. It was like
I do.
it's just created for people who are into that
Yes.
that style, you know, and
Yep.
and it was all, we protected that, you
Yeah.
know, so that you didn't feel like you had to deliver or had to be funny. Like,
Right.
yeah. So yeah, it was great.
You're great. This has been great. You have something to say, Bieber? And I'm just okay.
Oh, I was going to launch us into another 30-minute question, but probably better to, because, you know, you've been so generous with your time.
So generous.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys, this is great. You're wonderful. I love this idea. I love the show. And,
Oh.
you know, thanks for having me. It was great.
She showed on Monday, made love on Tuesday. By Wednesday she was down. We fought on Thursday, made up on Friday. But now I'm losing ground. You call me lazy, you think I'm crazy. So why'd you come around? She want my money, but I got no money. This ain't no savings and loans. You call me lazy, you think I'm crazy, so why'd you come around? She want my money, but I got no money. This ain't no savings and